It's back! Magical Hopathon round 2 is coming. Oh my god, you guys, Magical Hopathon is back, and it's back for round 2. I'm so excited, and round 2 is to help celebrate Disneyland Paris's 30th anniversary. These ears are to help celebrate its 20th, which is the last time I went. The last time I went to Disneyland Paris was over 8 years ago, when it was in the midst of celebrating its 20th anniversary. So the fact that it's turning 30 in less than a month when you're seeing this is bonkers to me. And I think I'm more excited for this round because I am actually going to Disneyland Paris this year in June for my 25th birthday, so it's all just very magical for me right now, and the fact that I get to spread Disney magic once again with you guys through reading books and through this community means the absolute world to me, and I'm so excited to announce this round. So I guess without further ado, let's hop into the rules, the prompts, and everything you need to know about round 2 of the Magical Hopathon. So I should probably start by announcing when it's actually running. And this time round, the readathon is a 2-week-long readathon. Disneyland Paris, if you don't know, only has 2 main parks. So it's a 2-week-long readathon, running from April 11th, 2022, all the way up to April 24th, 2022. And if you guys know that time period, yes, I have made sure that Easter weekend falls between that readathon, so we can all get 4 extra magical days of this readathon when no one has work. Hopefully anyway, the most of us won't have work, so it'll be Easter bank holiday, so we can get a lot more reading done, and I can, without taking time off work, host more sprints. So hopefully these times work for you guys, and I'm so excited for you guys to take part with me. The aim within this readathon is to go to at least 1 park. There are 2 parks to choose from. As long as you hit 1 park and also do 1 prompt within that park, you have successfully completed the readathon. Therefore, the minimum amount of books that you need to read within that 2-week time period is 2. So this readathon is a lot more accessible, a lot more flexible, and I'm so excited to be able to make it that way, because I know my October readathon was very hefty in the amount I kind of needed you guys to read in order to complete it. So hopefully with this 2-week one, it's going to allow people to have more flexibility with picking the choices they want, as well as just being only 2 weeks, so you're not cutting out an entire month for this readathon either. So hopefully it'll be a lot more flexible for everyone who wants to partake. However, if you want to be overly ambitious, in total there are 17 prompts to pick between, and if you want to do all of them, you are totally welcome, but that does mean reading 17 books. And I'll get into the rules now. So if you took part in October's readathon for Walt Disney World, then the rules will be very familiar to you, so I'm just going to run through them. There are some changes, but most things are staying the same. And if you know or you don't know, I will say it again, but in order to partake in this readathon, you need to complete a park entrance prompt. This is basically acting as your park ticket, so without completing that prompt, you cannot access the parks. I feel like a broken record, even though I haven't said those words in absolute months, but you need a park entrance prompt to complete this readathon. Park entrance prompt will differ depending on whether you choose, because it's up to you. This readathon is all about choosing your own adventure, building your dream Disney day, so the park entrance prompt will depend on whether you want to start in the main park, which is Disneyland Paris, or the other park within the Disneyland Paris resort at Walt Disney Studios. And then whichever park you want to start at, you complete the park entrance prompt, and then you pick a prompt within that park to read next, because you don't go through the gates of Disneyland Paris and then turn right back around and go to a ride in the Walt Disney Studios. So you have to kind of follow through, you have to make it as realistic as possible. And then those 2 prompts are the minimum prompts that you need to complete in order to have a successful Magical Hopathon round 2 readathon. And unlike the first round for Walt Disney World, you can hop between the parks as many times as you like. Taking a quick pause here to say that the reason you can hop between the parks as many times as you like is because in Disneyland Paris, the 2 parks are so close together you can walk between them. You don't need to complete a certain number of prompts before hopping over to the next park. You can be as flexible as you want with this readathon. And if that means you want to start in Disneyland Paris and do the park entrance prompt for that park, and then do 1 ride there, which may be Alice's Curious Labyrinth, and then you're like, actually no, I want to go meet a Marvel character, then you can totally hop over to Walt Disney Studios, and you can hop back and forth as many times as you want and as often as you like. So this Readathon is 100% in your control, and yeah, just have fun with it. Hop around as many times as you want. If you want to do all the prompts in one park, absolutely fine. If you just want to do 2 prompts in Disneyland Paris and then hop over and complete 5 prompts in Walt Disney Studios, that's absolutely fine as well. As many prompts as you want to complete, as little prompts as you want to complete, across the entire resort basically. But the only rule is the park that you want to start at, i.e. Disneyland Paris, you need to do that park entrance prompt to gain your ticket, and then your first prompt has to be within that same park that you have chosen to start at. I feel like I keep referring to my first round because it is the simplest way to explain what this round is about. And in the first round, you could double up on certain prompts. However, because of the categories within this readathon, you cannot double up on any prompts because the 3 main categories in this readathon is attractions, characters and shows, and you can't simultaneously ride an attraction, watch a show and meet a character at the same time, so you cannot double up on any prompts, which is why this readathon is so much more flexible, because I don't want you guys to be stressed about how many books you need to read. So the minimum books that you need to read is 2. If you want to do more than that, amazing. If you can just do 2, that's incredible as well. And even though I have created categories for this readathon to keep in theme with the overall Magical Hopathon brand, you don't need to complete a prompt from each category, i.e. you don't need to complete an attraction, a show and character within Disneyland Paris before you move on. You can do 2 attractions in Disneyland Paris, then you want to kind of go over to Walt Disney Studios and meet a Marvel character, you can totally do that, and then maybe you want to like hop back over to Disneyland Paris and watch a show. That's absolutely fine. Whatever path you want to take in this readathon is completely up to you. And if you do decide to hop over, you don't need to complete both park entrance prompts. So you only need to complete the park entrance prompt of the park that you want to start at. So your first book for this readathon needs to be a park entrance prompt book, which could be Disneyland Paris. And then afterwards, if you do want to hop over to Walt Disney Studio, you do not need to do the park entrance prompt for Walt Disney Studios. You only need to complete 1 park entrance prompt across the entire readathon, but it has to be the first book you read because it is gaining you entry to the entire resort. And that's the rules. I feel like it's a bit more self-explanatory this time around because it isn't so restrictive. It is, like I keep saying, very, very flexible in what you want to read, when you want to read it, and just the prompts that you want to complete as well. So there are 17 prompts in total. You can do all 17, you can do 2 of them, you can do 7 of them, you could do 5 of them, and they can be a mixture of any prompts across any of the parks. So now let's move on to the fun thing, which is the prompts, because it was the first thing that I created when I created the first round, and it's the first thing I thought about when I wanted to create the second round. So I'm so excited to share with you guys all the prompts I've come up with for Magical Hopathon Round 2 Disneyland Paris edition. Let's start off with the main park of Disneyland Paris. This is like the Magic Kingdom of Disneyland Paris, and the park entrance prompt you need to complete to get into Disneyland Paris, if that is the park you want to start at, is to read a book that's been calling to you. And I have chosen this prompt because Disney has been calling to me ever since I physically couldn't get back there because of the pandemic and borders being shut, and obviously the borders have now reopened, but I haven't managed to get there quite yet, and Disneyland Paris is calling my name. I am more obsessed with Disneyland Paris than I have ever been in my life, and that is because it's the first Disney park that I'm going to be able to get to post-pandemic, and I am so excited. So to get into Disneyland Paris, if that's the park that you wish to start at, is to read a book that's been calling to you. This could mean any book, a book that's been on your TBR for ages that you feel like you need to get around to, a book that you've recently brought that you're really, really excited to read. It could be anything. And the attractions in Disneyland Paris are as follows. And the first one is Alice's Curious Labyrinth, which is basically an Alice in Wonderland inspired maze. So for that attraction, you need to read a book that you can get lost in. Once again, these prompts are so flexible because I wanted anyone who wants to partake to be able to participate in this readathon. So the prompts are really, really broad. I think broader than my Walt Disney World one that I hosted back in October. And for this prompt, it's once again very, very customizable and down to you. You just need to read a book that you can get lost in. And for all of us, I can safely say here, we read books for escapism. So it could be any book that you want to read. The next attraction in Disneyland Paris that you can pick from is Big Thunder Mountain, and this is to read a first book in a series because it is one of the opening day attractions that still exist within Disneyland Paris. So you have to read a first book in a series because it was an opening day attraction. It was one of the first attractions in Disneyland Paris to like open because it opened on opening day. Duh. So you just need to read a first book in a series. And once again, you don't need to do an attraction, show and character prompt within the park before hopping over. You could do all of the attraction prompts if those prompts are really what you want to do and not do any others. This readathon is so flexible. Can I say this more? The next attraction for Disneyland Paris that you can pick between is Hyperspace Mountain, and this is a bit like Space Mountain in Walt Disney World, but it has a Star Wars overlay. So for this prompt, you need to complete a book that will take you out of this world. And once again, it's so customizable. It could be any book that you want to read. It could be a sci-fi if you want to physically think it's taking you out of this current world. It could be set in space, once again, to physically take you out of this world, or it could just be a book that you think is an escapism book for you. So basically just a book that you could absorb yourself in and kind of forget about the real world. Any of those types of books could fit for this prompt. And the last attraction you can complete in Disneyland Paris, if you so wish, is Mickey's PhilHar Magic. And this is to read a book with illustrations in it, because this is a 3D show. You put 3D glasses on and you watch Mickey Mouse conduct an orchestra, and then Donald Duck takes his maestro hat and he goes up to lots of mischievous adventures, and you basically just go along for the ride. It's a 4D, 3D experience, and it's just a lot of fun. It's fun for the family, and because it's all illustrated, then you have to read a book with illustrations in it. That could be the chapter headers, it could be actual pictures if you're thinking of a middle grade, or it could just be the end pages. That has illustrations. A map could be an illustration. It could be anything that has an illustration in it. Even the little icons by the page numbers. Anything could be an illustration. The shows you can pick from in Disneyland Paris is as follows. The first one is the fireworks show, which has only just come back post-pandemic to Disneyland Paris, and that is Disney's Illuminations. And for this is to read a book with a beautiful cover, because obviously fireworks are beautiful, so of course you have to read a book with a beautiful cover for this one. And once again, pretty self-explanatory. And the second show that you can pick between, you don't have to do any of the shows, or you could do both of the shows. It's up to you. And the second show that you can pick between is Disney's Stars on Parade, and that is a daytime parade that you can watch that has all of your favourite Disney characters involved, and they all come down the street and they all kind of do a little dance, and you know what a parade is by now. And for that prompt you need to read an anthology, because that is a book that has a collection of short stories, and a parade is obviously a collection of parade floats that have different themings around different movies. So it's a bit like an anthology itself, just not in book form, so you have to read an anthology. And the two characters that you could pick between to meet in Disneyland Paris, hop over to the Sweet as Honey selfie spot and meet Winnie the Pooh. And for that you need to read a book that is comforting to you. So once again, any book that brings you comfort. Do you like how flexible these prompts are? Because I'm happy with how flexible these prompts are. You can literally pick any book that you want to read for any of these prompts, because they are all so flexible. And the other iconic character, pause this video, make your guesses down in the comments. The other iconic character that you can meet in Disneyland Paris is Mickey Mouse himself. I couldn't not include characters in this round, because if you haven't noticed by now, characters weren't a category in the Walt Disney World themed readathon I did in October. Characters are a brand new feature for the Magical Hopathon Round 2 Disneyland Paris edition, and I'm so excited to bring characters into this readathon. And of course I had to make Mickey Mouse one of the character prompts. And for this prompt you need to read a book that is loved by all, so basically a booktube favourite. Any book that you think has been hyped on booktube, hyped on BookTok, any book that has been hyped or loved by maybe your friends or your family, read a book that covers that prompt. And those are all the prompts for Disneyland Paris. There are definitely less prompts to pick between, but I'm hoping because they are a lot more flexible, you still have the free reign that you want to be able to complete the prompts that you choose. Now let's hop over to Walt Disney Studios. Walt Disney Studios is basically like the Hollywood Studios of Disneyland Paris. So it has a lot of the movies, it has Toy Story Land, it has the new, hopefully opening before I arrive, Avengers Campus. Fingers crossed, it's opening summer 2022, and I really hope they mean early summer 2022. Disneyland Paris, if you're hearing this, it better be open by the time I arrive. So it's a very movie-based theme park, just like Hollywood Studios is in Walt Disney World. So if you wish to start at this park, the park entrance prompt you need to complete is to read a book that will take you on an adventure. Once again, very basic, very broad, very up to interpretation. The attractions in Walt Disney Studios that you can pick between are Ratatouille The Adventure, which is to read a book that features food, because if you guys don't know, Ratatouille is a little rat that helps around in a kitchen in a chef's hat and creates the most incredible food. So you have to read a book that features food. This could be a cooking show, a book that features a baking shop. It could literally just have food on the cover, a bit like With a Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo. It could have the smallest amount of food on the cover, or it could be a food orientated plot. Next attraction is Crush's Coaster. In Walt Disney World, there is an attraction that involves Crush, but it's more like an interactive talk with him, whereas in Disneyland Paris, there's actually a roller coaster inspired by Finding Nemo, and it's called Crush's Coaster. And because Crush is over 150 years old, you have to read a book that's been on your TBR forever, so a TBR vet. The next attraction you can pick from is Animation Academy, which is very familiar to the Walt Disney World prompts, and this is to read a graphic novel or manga, because Animation Academy is where you can go along and draw Disney characters following a actual Disney animator, so to read a graphic novel or manga. And the last attraction you can pick between, once again very familiar if you took part in a Magical Hopathon round 1, is Tower of Terror, and that's to read a book that spooks you out, because Tower of Terror is a thrilling ride that is based around a tower that gets electrified and the lift starts to go all wacky and it jumps you up and down, so read a book that speaks you out. If you have forgotten any of these prompts, don't worry, there'll be a link to a Google Drive down in the description where a prompt sheet will be listed along with other graphics to help you along in planning your TBR for this readathon. So make sure you check that out, and then if you want to ask more questions or you're still concerned about anything, you can always pop me a DM. My social is also always down below. The shows that you can pick between in Walt Disney Studios are as follows. The first one is Stitches Live, a show that I've never actually experienced myself, but being a major Stitch fan, I'm very, very excited to try it out when I go in June. I'm so excited, you guys. So excited to be back in a Disney park this summer. I'm so excited. But I've never done Stitches Live. However, Stitch is a very mischievous character. He is an alien that pretends to be someone else. He pretends to be a cute little dog. So for this prompt, you need to read a book with a mischievous main character. The other show that you can pick between is the Disney Junior Dream Factory show. This is a show more targeted towards the family and the younger audience. So for this prompt, you need to read a middle grade book. And the two characters that you can meet in the Walt Disney Studios, the first one is Pixar Selfie Spot, to meet some Pixar characters, Woody, Jessie, Buzz. I'm not sure what other Pixar characters will be available to meet, but we can just use our imagination. If you want to meet any Pixar character, this is the spot for you. And to complete that prompt, you need to read a book where the main character isn't human, because a lot of Pixar films make animals come alive and they aren't actually human, but they are characters within themselves just as much as humans would be. So you have to read a main character that isn't human. And maybe saving the best till last, the last character that you can meet in Walt Disney Studios is the Heroic Selfie Spot, which is where you can meet Marvel characters. Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Black Widow, Black Panther, I think, definitely Captain America. You name it, you probably can meet some of the most iconic Marvel characters in Disneyland Paris, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm very excited to meet some of them myself. I think Thor is also an option. So if you want to get your superhero fix, this is the place to be. And for this prompt, you need to complete a book that has a kick-ass main character, because all superheroes are kick-ass and they save the world. So read a book with a character that also mimics a superhero in the way that they're kick-ass and that they kind of like save the world. Those are all the prompts, and I'll flash the prompt sheet up on screen for you guys quickly so you can see all of them laid out. And once again, you only need to complete a minimum of 2 prompts, but those 2 prompts, if you only choose 2, has to be your park entrance prompt, also a prompt within the same park that you have chosen for the park entrance prompt, i.e. Disneyland Paris to read a book that is calling to you, and then Alice's Curious Labyrinth to read a book that you can get lost in. However, if you choose to read more than 2 books, once you've completed your park entrance prompt that you choose to start at, and then a prompt within that same park, you are free to do as many prompts as you want. You hop between the parks as many times as you want. You can go back and forth. You can do Alice's Curious Labyrinth. You can go and meet a Marvel character. You can go watch Stitches Live, and then you can go ride Tower of Terror, and then you can do Disney Dream Factory. You could hop back and forth as many times as you so wish until that you feel that you have personally completed the readathon, because the only aim for this readathon is to complete 2 prompts, the park entrance prompt and then 1 prompt within that same park. And that's basically Magical Hopathon Round 2 Disneyland Paris edition, ready for its 30th. And I was about to point in my ears, but these are the ears I got when I went for the 20th anniversary 8 whole years ago, and I haven't been back since. So I don't have any current merch, but you bet I will. As soon as I've gone in June, I will have a whole stash of Disneyland Paris 30th merch to show you guys. And yeah, I think that's kind of it. I don't think I have anything more to announce regarding this round of Magical Hopathon. But guys, I am so excited to share this with you, to finally announce it. I've been planning this before Magical Hopathon round 1 for Walt Disney World's 50th anniversary even launched. I was like, oh my god, I can make this a whole thing, and I can do, oh my god, Disneyland Paris turns 30 next year, I can do a round for that. And I hadn't even taken part in my own readathon yet. That's how long this readathon has been brewing in my brain, and I'm so excited to be able to make it more flexible and to really be able to allow you guys to build your dream day, because that is what this readathon is about. If you don't want to do a certain ride, you don't need to. If you don't want to meet a character, you don't need to do that. If you don't want to watch a show, you don't need to do that. If you want to watch all the shows, go for it. If you want to meet all the characters, you do you. It's basically, as one more time, as flexible as you want it to be. Woo! Of course, being a readathon on BookTube, there will be live shows. I haven't actually made plans on when these will be yet, because it is still quite far away. As you're watching this, it is just less than a month away. Make sure you are following the official Magical Hopathon Twitter, which is linked down below, and the handle will be on screen for you guys now. Make sure you're following that so you can get all the latest updates regarding this readathon before it starts, as well as during the actual occasion, the 2 weeks. So that's it. I'm so excited. I am premiering this video, so if you're watching on Premiere, leave me Disney themed emojis in the sidebar just to show me how excited you guys are to have round 2 back, because I am so excited, and I know people are also excited, and the love that I've got so far on the Twitter, and I cannot wait to constantly bring this readathon back to you guys, making it more magical and making it a more immersive experience as we go. So I'm really hope you're excited for round 2. If you're watching this outside the premiere, also leave Disney themed emojis in the comments down below. Give this video a massive thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and tell me that you're excited for this readathon. Mark your calendars, April 11th is when we start, and I cannot wait to see you guys there. So without further ado, I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.